What is the most important skill you need? A pause from the post of Dr. Strife Masiua. If you want to be successful, you will need many specialized business skills, but probably the most important one will surprise you. That is the capacity to read. Yes, read. You must develop the capacity to read, and to read fast. And by this, I don't mean basic literacy. This is why I talk of capacity. If you are on this platform, you are someone who has more than basic literacy skills. You are the next generation of leaders. I'm sure you have heard the expression, great leaders are readers. You must have the capacity to read a lot if you want to be successful. All the greatest leaders I have ever met from any walk of life had this in common. They liked to read books, journals, and articles. On one of my travels, I met someone who asked me a simple question: where do you live? I have a house in London and one in Johannesburg, but I spend most of my time in airports. Where are your books? She asked. In Johannesburg. That is where you live, because books are your most prized possession. You must buy and own books. It must be a constant investment. You are not a reader if you prefer only to borrow books. It means you are not committed. If you have children, take them to bookshops. Buy or build them bookshelves. Encourage them to own and treasure books. Take them to libraries, galleries, and museums. They are generally free. For the African continent to grow and prosper, we must build a greater culture of reading in our younger generations. There is not a moment of waste. The pastor of a great church asked a younger man, "Where is your Bible?" "I cannot afford one, sir," the younger man replied. "Then sell your shoes," the pastor replied. This is the attitude you must build towards the ownership of all other books too. If you think books are too expensive, then you have not yet realized their value to you and your family. Reading is by far and away the thing I do most in my day. You all know by now that I start my day by reading the Bible for at least an hour. I read it cover to cover at least once a year. Before I go to work or start my day, I delve through at least 5 newspapers that I subscribe to. Then I read reports, mostly about what's going on in our various businesses. I also read the latest developments in our industries. I read emails. I don't allow an email to go unanswered for more than 24 hours. Generally, I read every email that gets into my inbox. This is why I don't like all sorts of emails to clutter my box. I manage emails very strictly because if I don't, I will lose control of my agenda. Throughout the day, I am reading reports and responding to them. I can read very fast. I hate rituals, but if you must have a ritual, this is it. Read every day to understand, reflect upon, and follow what's going on around you that affects you. Remember what I have said before, things happening far across the world can seriously affect you too. You can train yourself to expand your reading capacity quickly and easily. Buy and read books. Buy and read books. Did I repeat myself? Buy and read books. In closing, the other day I went to see a play in New York about Alexander Hamilton, one of America's founding fathers. It was a remarkable musical production and worth all the rave reviews it's getting. I only had one problem. It was a musical performed in rap by a mostly young African American cast. For a long time, I didn't understand a thing they were saying, but I could still follow the story very well because I had read the book on which it was based more than 10 years earlier. If I must see a movie, I must read the book as well. Someone who has a smartphone or a tablet is reading quantitatively more than 100 times what their peers read 20 years ago. Nevertheless, the key to reading capacity requires an interest in reading books, even those in electronic format. Be smart, be wise, buy and read books if you are planning to get to the top. One book a week should be your minimum target. Ready to return and work in Africa in the early 1980s, I sold all my few possessions, things like my stereo systems, my color TV, big thing in those days, my prized music albums, everything I could sell. I then used all the cash to buy books because I wasn't sure if I would be able to find some of my most important books. When one of my friends asked me why I was doing this, I said books were my most important possessions because with the knowledge they give me, I can make enough money to buy anything else. It matters what you read if you want to be taken serious. Don't become addicted to following the lives of so-called celebrities. If you only want to read the 148 characters of Twitter, you are playing with fire. Get down to reading serious stuff. If you don't like it, you will never be able to read effectively. Read to sharpen your curiosity. A person who is not intellectually curious about issues will develop a closed mind and will eventually end up being manipulated by others.